I want to start off with a question that I have. Sheila is one of my students in my Pin to Etsy Success course, and she had a question, and the question is there a best time of the day to post a listing in order for it to be seen? And that is an awesome question, because if you're posting exactly when your potential customers are seeing it and on the platform, yes, that's going to increase your sales. But how are we going to find when our customers are actually purchasing and on the platform shopping? Well, there's a wonderful tool called Google Analytics. And if you don't know what Google Analytics is, it is the way that you can track all types of activity on your websites, your blogs, your Etsy shop, and it's really easy to set up. Of course, this will take just a few steps of going into Etsy and getting some information. And then as soon as you get that information, you sign into your Google Analytics. And it takes about 24 to 48 hours for you to start seeing anything, seeing activity, but you can dive deep into what your customers, what time of day are they clicking on your products, and this will give you more information to know, when your customers are shopping on your platform. So therefore, you can actually put your new products up when they're hanging out. And this is different for there is no like cut in stone place, like say, hey, 2 o'clock on Thursdays are when everybody is going to be, online. So everyone is different. Your customer is different than the next Etsy seller's customer. So that's why you need to, hi, how are you, Mandy? Welcome. We're just talking about a question about how to find your customers when they are shopping on your Etsy shop, and you do that with Google Analytics. So you can watch the replay. You can see exactly what we're talking about. So for my shop, it may be different than the next person's shop that sells children's clothes, because maybe it's a busy mom and she's shopping, let's say she's shopping while the baby's napping. My shop is jewelry supplies, so maybe my customer is working late into the evening making their jewelry, and they're purchasing at a different time. So great question, and yes, it is really, really important to find out as much information as possible about your customers, because this way it's only going to be an extra tool in your tool belt to help you and optimizing your shop. So anyway, so today I'm really excited because I want to talk about 3 tips on getting started with your Etsy shop if you have just an idea or if you already have a product. So first things first, if you're just getting like your ideas going and you don't even have a product, you want to make sure, number one, you're validating your idea, that there's actually a market for it. So let's say, for instance, you have this crazy idea that nobody is doing, but you think it's brilliant. Well, guess what? That might not be such a great idea, because you're going to have to do extra work to find an audience for it. It could be a good thing, it could be a bad thing, but get geared up to do some extra marketing to attract those customers. So it's not necessarily a good thing or bad thing. It's all about testing. And, being in business myself for over 20 years, I've had to test hundreds and hundreds of products. And there's been a lot of rejection. Things that I thought were going to work absolutely didn't work, and I failed at them. But that doesn't mean that I just stopped my business. I just found things that were working. So the same with you. If you just have an idea, you need to go validate it by, number one, maybe you have a lot of friends and family that will give you honest feedback. And that's not always just a great place to go. You want to go into the marketplace, but that's a good place to start. Secondly, if you have, let's see, get onto the computer, look at Etsy, see if the product is out there or something similar, to see if there is a demand, how much of a demand. And there's lots of tools that I go into in my Pin to Etsy Success course, and also in some of my YouTube videos, that can help you validate demand. So let's pretend you already have validated your product. You know there's a demand for your product. So the first thing, a first tip, now there's dozens and dozens of tips, but I had to narrow it down to just a few that we're going to talk about today. But don't be a victim. Let's say you've got your product, you know what you want to do, and you're ready to open your shop. Don't be a product of Choppy Shop. So what is Choppy Shop? Well, let's say you go onto a site and you see all different types of products. And it's like you've got, let's say you make candles, you make jewelry, and you do all kinds of things. And again, this may work, but most likely if you're new and you don't have an audience, it's going to confuse the customer. Unless your branding is on point and you've got everything super branded, categorized, just putting up a whole bunch of stuff to see what works is a really bad idea in the beginning. Again, unless you already have a following, unless you already have cohesive branding, if you're just starting out, it's really a great practice to find maybe one or two like signature items that you can create a whole shop on. And you want to keep like your theme kind of consistent, maybe in your colors or your products. This way, it won't turn off customers because they get confused. We never want to confuse a customer because, believe me, they're going to click off your site because they can't find what they're looking for. They don't understand. And hey, Carol, I'm telling you, I love you, Carol. You're like my rock. Anyway, you'll have to watch the playback for a couple questions a question that we talked about finding your customers on, what time of day to find your customers on Etsy. Anyway, so back to my train of thought. Okay, so yeah, it's really a good practice to keep that choppy shop away and get to that consistent branded feel, kind of like a boutique, kind of like you're walking into a boutique. So from your header to your logo to everything in your shop, maybe consistent colors, similar products. This will help keep your customers really focused and interested because they feel comfortable on your shop. And I've done a lot of different audits and I see some shops and I know right away one of their problems could be that they're a victim of Choppy Shop. Too many things going on. And the great thing about, when you're in business for yourself, you're always going to be testing products. It's just a given. So don't have your heart set on, oh my gosh, this is what I do and that's it. Well, if something is not selling, you need to pivot into a new direction and figure out what's wrong. So that would be my first tip. Make sure that you are not doing the Choppy Shop thing and you're not all over the place. Go and kind of like go a little bit more narrow and deep in the beginning. You can always expand your product line later, but this is a really good practice, especially if you have a validated product that you know is going to be selling. Keep your theme and brand consistent, and that will be really easy on the customer's eye. It will make them feel comfortable. Okay, the second thing is I want you to repeat after me. Wherever you guys are at, repeat after me. Done is better than perfect. Yes, done is better than perfect. Don't fall into the trap that many new entrepreneurs start by thinking, I have to have my branding spotless, and they spend months on a logo. While that is they're wasting precious time where they could be testing products. Remember, if you're just starting out in business, nobody knows who you are, and you've got millions of people to sell to. So don't worry if there's 10 or 15 or 20 people that see your product and it's not on point yet. So what happens when you just keep putting those steps forward and making progress is you're going to get momentum in your shop. And momentum is what's going to create that critical mass. Eventually, you're going to find what works, you're going to get into your rhythm, and you're going to get all of your baseline is going to be set. Eventually, you can change your branding if you need to. Don't get stuck on it. I have been a victim myself. I have changed my fitness logo. I have a fitness company where I sell fitness, I design fitness clothing. I've changed it like 10 times in the past 22 years. And I realize now, recently, of course, thinking, why have I wasted so much time on trying to rebrand when I should be wasting my time, not wasting my time, putting my energy into marketing my product. As long as it's a consistent brand and it's clear and it's memorable, you don't need to worry if it's purple or pink. Just make sure everything is flowing and you do have brand recognition. So don't waste your time on all those day-to-day things. Let's say you're super organized and you're gonna organize your shop where you're gonna put all of your supplies. Well, that's great, but that's not gonna bring you closer to getting your shop open. So done is better than perfect. Make those steps, make it messy in the beginning, get it out there, because I promise you, and even for me starting this fairly new blogging business, I am, in the beginning, I don't have much of an audience, but I'm going to be consistent. And as Carol can see, because she's been kind of like hanging out with me for the past few weeks while I started this, and I am going to show up. And I was only going to show up maybe once a month, but now I realize I'm going to start showing up a little bit more to create my audience. And I just love talking about this stuff, as you can tell. So like, it's not a problem for me. But to create my brand with Business Chic Mama, I got to show up. So you guys are going on this journey with me as well. I went from no one in my Facebook group, it's private Facebook group, to now, coaching on, with my new course, Pin to Etsy Success, and growing this Facebook. So this is just, let it be a lesson to you of how I work in business. And I'm not going to stop just because I didn't have anyone, in the very beginning. Last week, I think I had Carol pop on for my Facebook Live, but I'm going to continue and follow this through, and we'll tweak it as I go. So the same with your Etsy shops. And see, we have another one online too, who's just popped up, someone else. Anyway, so be consistent in what you are doing, even if you're making mistakes, because it's by your mistakes you're going to learn what is working. And this is the only thing that there's no hard and fast rules in business. It's kind of messy in the beginning. So that being said, repeat that mantra, done is better than perfect. Okay, we can tweak all those things along the way, but create that momentum in your shop. Just create it. Just take that first step. Okay, so the third tip is that in order to be found on Etsy, and you really want to be a serious, successful shop, I'm not talking about selling 2 or 3, 4 products a month. You really need to know SEO, which is search engine optimization, and marketing. And again, don't overwhelm yourself with all this stuff in the beginning, because you're already just trying to get your listings up and uploaded onto Etsy and getting your banner and your descriptions and all that. So who has the time to really learn marketing and SEO? Well, that can come over time, but it is important that you need to optimize your listings to be found on Etsy and Google. That is the first step that you really need to do once your shop is up and running to really start propelling yourself to the next level. And you can create a serious business on Etsy if you take the time to learn search engine optimization tactics and marketing. And you don't want to rely just on Etsy to do your marketing for you. You need to have an outside source of bringing in traffic and sustainable traffic to actually propel you to the next level, to scale your business. And again, you can absolutely have a successful shop on Etsy even without SEO, because I did it with my beading company because there's just such a big demand for beading. But the more I learned about SEO and marketing, it is like a force to be reckoned with. So you can go from like 0 to 6-figure sales if you put your energy into all of these tactics that the top marketers know, that I've learned, and I've spent a lot of money on their courses to learn these tactics that will help you. So those 3 tips alone will really help you get going in your shop. And my Pin to Etsy Success course is open, but we dive deep into the Etsy SEO algorithms. We talk all about that. We talk about how to get your email marketing set up how to market your clients, what to say, and we talk about Pinterest, which is the slam dunk. I'm telling you, Pinterest done the right way will drive massive traffic to your shop. And those are tactics, marketing tactics that you guys can use, and that you don't need to be all over the place. You don't need to be on Facebook everywhere, every day. You don't need to be on Twitter and Instagram, even those are great social media tools to scale your business. You don't need it. You can get traffic from one source, and that is Pinterest. So that being said, I'm going to cut it because it's been about almost 18 minutes, and I know I could talk all day long. But please leave your comments below for any questions that you have, or for my Facebook Lives, if you have a specific question that you want me to address. If you're having some trouble with anything, it could be something really simple. Just leave it. I'm really here to help you guys. I love doing this stuff, and that's it. So hopefully I'll be doing another live next week, and let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm here for you guys. Leave your comments, and I love the feedback and the comments in the group. So that will help me understand where you're at and you know, what you need help with. Anyway, you guys have a beautiful day. Stay warm if you're, you know, in that Arctic freeze. And I will see you in the next Facebook Live, and I'll see you on the private Business Chic Mama group. Did you guys have any questions before I cut out? Just want to know if you guys have any questions. No. Okay. All right, I'm signing off.